Unqualified
Bow, 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 bow,
Heroes! Back at it again.
bow.
Season
Yes,
2,
sir.
Episode 3. I'm one of your co hosts, Daniel Perez.
And I am Messi Morales, and we are your qualified
Unqualified
heroes.
Heroes. Let's do this. All right. So, I will have to say before we get into our episode, there has been breaking news. This has just come out minutes within before recording. There has been I don't know why I stopped. There are two Arrow writers that are joining the Daredevil Born Again production to help write the script for Daredevil.
Interesting.
So just wanted to point that out there. I mean, it's not like the biggest news, but Arrow was a very good show, arguably the best CW show that came out for the CW superhero universe. So it's cool. And you know, Arrow has a very serious tone, and some people were worried that Daredevil might not have as serious of a tone, so that might help. Maybe, maybe not.
Interesting. Interesting.
All right, Messi. So, what are we going to talk about today? What is today about?
So, before I tell you what today is about, Daniel, we're gonna start a new thing before Ant-Man comes out because there's really not much to talk about. So we're just gonna take it back through the years. So we're gonna bring it back all the way to 2008, and we're gonna talk about it
We're
all the
going to
way
blast in
to
the past.
Endgame. So we're gonna be talking about phases, phase 1, phase 2, and phase 3. Phase 4 just came out. We have recently talked about that, how we thought and whatnot. So we really haven't talked about 1, 2, and 3. So we have 3 weeks before Ant-Man comes out. So if you do the math right, we're gonna be talking about phase 1 today. We're talking
All
about
right,
reviews
phase
and
one.
rankings. Yeah,
Okay.
so we're gonna be talking about that. Again, if you do not know, Phase One has 6 movies, including Hulk. I know some people may not include that on your list, but it is what it is. It's part of it. Do not fight us. Fight the MCU. So yeah, so let's talk about it, Danny. So let's
All
bring
right.
it back.
So, for everyone, if you don't remember what movies were in phase one, we got Iron Man, we got Hulk, Iron Man 2, Thor, Captain America, and the original Avengers movie. So, this is from 2008 to 2012, a good 4 year chunk. So, we had to be waiting for them movies after each one came out. We're like, oh my gosh, when's the freaking next one?
Now you're
But
just dropping my flies.
now they just be dropping like flies. They're everywhere. So we're gonna start off with our reviews first. You're gonna have to wait to the end to hear our rankings. But we start off at the beginning. Iron Man. All right, Messi. What do you think about Iron Man 1?
Iron Man one was the one who started it all. Um, I was like probably like 7 or 8 years old when the movie came out. I remember watching it in the theaters. I remember that the sex scene that they have. I remember my uncle covering my eyes because I was too young to be
I'm
watching.
weak.
That reporter be slutty with Tony Stark, but it was a great movie. Watching it now as an adult, it's not as good as you saw in the first time. Even though it's a great movie, just like some parts that you realize it's like okay, there's some parts gonna kind of not boring, but like not really that important to the story, or don't make the movie that push forward to what
Right.
it could be. Especially when there's like 3 villains in the movie or 2 villains in the movie. There is the Middle Eastern people that kidnap him.
Yeah. And then
That the
Obadiah.
that guy, the Iron Killmonger, something like that. Monger,
Ironmonger.
Ironmonger, whatever his name is. And it built up to the final battle, and the just big CGI battle. It wasn't just a really good comic book movie or superhero movie, if you want to call it that way.
Yeah.
Because I'm thinking when they released that movie, they were really thinking, okay, so we're gonna like expand this universe. They're probably just doing okay. Let's make
It's just
money.
a superhero movie. Yeah.
It's just a superhero movie. Yeah.
Okay. All right. I got a lot of similar input to what you had. As you said, it is the one that started it all. It is the origin story, the origin story of origin stories.
Yep.
One of my favorite things about this movie, back when we had our live pod at your school, I had listed my top 5 movies, and then I think I had an honorable mention. I don't remember if this was my number 5 or if this was the honorable mention, but it's very high up on my list. It's not like the greatest movie, but I just love how you were saying it's just a superhero movie. There's no connecting to 1,000 other films and this plot line and that plot line and this superhero that you're going to see 5 years down the line.
Yeah.
And it was just refreshing just to see its own. It was grounded in its own thing. The visuals for 2008, they were pretty good
Yeah.
visuals. I was very impressed, rewatching it. The action was great. I really love the action. It balanced humor and like drama, action. It balanced all of that really, really well. As you've seen in some other movies, there can be like a disbalance between that. We're like, all right, that's a little too much of something. Usually it's a little bit too much of the humor.
Yeah.
But this movie just like perfectly balanced it. Robert Downey Jr., phenomenal. The chemistry between him and Gwyneth in the movie were just really, really good. The villain, Obadiah, I don't know, it kind of let me down a little bit. Like the final fight, it was kind of just like Iron Man versus bigger Iron Man. And I don't know, it wasn't the best. But once again, it was just a superhero movie. So like,
Yeah.
what could we expect? There wasn't, I mean, what had come out by then? A couple of X-Men movies, Spider-Man 1, and that's
Dark Knight just released at that
Oh,
moment.
Spider-Man 2, I guess. And Dark Knight. Dark Knight had just released, but that was like
That was DC. That's another universe.
that don't really count.
Yeah.
But this is like, it was just a great way to like step off it. Like you said, I don't think they really had this big plan for what they thought the MCU could be. So it was just really grounded. I think it did really good. And that's what I got for Iron Man.
Yeah, for touching base on the villain, like the build up was so great for him, for the
Yeah.
bold dude. I forget his name.
Obadiah.
Yeah, that guy. The build up to see him through the movie as a villain, it was great. I thought like it could have been the biggest baddest villain.
Yeah.
Like because he basically took over the whole company. He was guiding Tony Stark and like taking over his mantle over after his parents passed away, and to see that at the end it was what it is. Like we said, is it was a superhero movie. They were trying just to not compete. I want to say compete with other studios, because Marvel was owned by other studios at the moment too, like with Sony and Fox having their own things. And at that moment, Paramount was the owner and the rights of Iron Man before Disney bought them off. So they were trying, I guess, not to compete or to compete in a way, because they were like the only one with like, okay, the superhero stuff is working out apparently.
Yeah.
So like people want to see more. So they give this B-lister superhero, which no one really cared about before, and then they brought a drug addict actor, a director who is not that big, wasn't that big at that moment. And Jon Favreau right now is like one of the biggest directors there is, because he brought into this thing. And like it was a low budget movie, and then poof, this thing just blew up in their faces, and like, welcome to the all MCU, guys.
Now that is a super good point. That like Iron Man, we all know Iron Man. Everybody knows Iron Man now, but he wasn't like the biggest, Avenger, like big name comic book hero back then. Back then it was like, Batman, Superman, a little bit of Spider-Man, and then a couple other people, but like Iron Man wasn't the biggest thing. As you're saying, Robert Downey Jr. was like he had no career at that point.
Yeah.
So it was just a really crazy like boom that I'm pretty sure Kevin Feige was like, damn, we're sitting on a gold mine. I didn't even realize.
Literally,
He's like,
yeah.
I was just trying to make a movie, but okay. But that's Iron Man. Then
What's
we
your
go to
wait,
what?
before we continue to the next movie? What's your rating from now? Like after all these years, after watching it for the first time, what's your rating now from 1 to 10 for
Okay, so
Iron Man
you
one?
want to give ratings now?
Yeah. So like we go with the movie, with the
Okay.
movies,
All right, Iron Man. I gotta give it an eight.
an 8.
An eight. I really enjoyed it. I give it an eight. I think it has a very. I haven't rewatched it in a while, but I think it has a very high rewatchability. Um,
It does, yeah.
just because it's so fresh and by itself, it I think it just has a very high rewatchability. As I said before, a long time ago in one of our live pods, it was one of my favorite movies. So I give it an 8 out of 10. It still had its misses, such as the final fight scene, but solid 8.
I agree with that. I was also giving it a 8 out of 10. So no more discussing about that. You basically took it away. All right,
Yeah.
so like Daniel was gonna say, we're gonna continue the expansion to a crappy movie who no one likes, but it's part of it. But it's part of it. Deal with it. And of course, we're talking about the Hulk.
The Hulk, the Incredible Hulk. Well, no, it's not the Incredible Hulk. It's
Yeah,
just
it
the
is.
Hulk. It
No,
is the Incredible Hulk. The other
it
one's
is
just
incredible.
the Hulk.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, with Edward Norton, starting the movie. Um, Danny,
Yes, sir.
what's your review on the 2008 The Incredible Hulk starting Edward Norton?
So the not canon movie. If you decide to say it's not canon, I don't disagree with you. If you say it's canon, you're not wrong, but it is what it is. Look, you could take this movie completely out of the equation and you still have the MCU. There is no connections. I mean, you got the Abomination now, but I mean, is there really? I don't know. Whatever. You kind of got Ross a little bit. Whatever. It is the not canon movie. It is what it is. First off, the writing sucked. I just don't we're doing. Obviously, we had Iron Man. I think with the Hulk, they were kind of doing similar things that they were just like, oh, let's just bring out a movie. And well, this also guy is kind of in the same universe, so let's just stick him in here. And it wasn't like a clear vision. So then you could kind of see that in the movie. The movie is all over the place. The fight scenes, honestly, weren't the best. It kind of looked like a video game, not in a good way.
Yeah.
I just there's not much to talk about this movie. It wasn't good and it's forgettable for a good reason.
I I agree and disagree on some parts that you said. Yes, it's a very forgettable movie. Um, but some of the fight scenes were pretty good. Um, like the Abomination fight scene on the very end, like is used as the Hulk fight scene. Like you don't see Hulk fight scenes on the MCU because he doesn't really fight no one in the MCU.
Yeah, that's true.
He just go ballistics and go crazy and destroy stuff. But from the 2008 Hulk movie all the way to Infinity War, because we haven't really seen him fight after that. And not even Infinity War. We saw him fight in the very first part of the movie on Infinity War
For a little bit. Yeah, for like
for a
30
little bit.
seconds.
Yeah. That he got his ass whooped by Thanos. There's like 2 or 3 good fights in the whole time that he's Hulk. Other than some cool moments when in Avengers when he smashed down the big
Yeah.
alien and Thor. Every time he fights Thor is an awesome battle. bad. But the Abomination fight scene on an Incredible Hulk, it was so good for me personally. I rewatched the movie a couple of months ago because you know what? I was like, why not? I only watched it one time when I was young, and I was a kid. I loved it as a kid because one, it's a Hulk. Who doesn't love the Hulk? Even the one previously before that one, it was awesome. I was a kid. Now I watch it again. It sucked. The acting is bad. The writing is bad. But the fight scenes is the only good thing about the movie.
I will say I was in love with the Hulk as a kid. I had bed sheets of the Hulk. I had
See,
posters of the Hulk. Now I'm looking back, I'm like, bro, why?
it was so lame
Why
when we
didn't
were
I pick
kids.
Iron Man or something? Spider Man? Are you kidding me? I mean, I did have Spider Man stuff too, but
But Hulk,
I don't know. I don't know what I was thinking. It was good at the
yeah,
time. It was good at
it
the
was good.
time.
We were kids. We were just enjoying like seeing this green monster rage and like go crazy. Every kid's like I had, like I don't know if you ever had
You
like
had the
gloves,
fist?
the fist,
Oh
and when
my
you smash
gosh.
them, it goes Hulk smash. I loved that. That was awesome me as a
Oh my
kid.
gosh, you had the fist. I didn't have a
But
fist. I had webs. I had little
yeah,
webs that like shot out like some I don't know,
some
like
web, some.
liquid goo or whatever.
But yeah, so I watched it recently as an adult. Like again, like I said, it's not that great. The acting was whatever. Um, I felt like it was a copy and paste of the first Iron Man, but done the wrong way.
Yeah. Done
Like there
literally
is
the wrong way.
there was multiple villains. There's Captain Ross. There was the Abomination, and then later on it was introduced that um the guy with the we
The
keep
green
mentioning him,
the
but
leader.
the leader, yeah, that guy. I'll put a photo on there so y'all can remember. They he later now he will be back again on Captain America, New World Order later on the faces. But there's like too many villains that got introduced on this movie, and then just to have one final battle scene was like too much. But again, the only good thing about this specific movie, it was the fight scene at the end, and it wasn't that great because the CGI sucked at that moment. But it was awesome. The fight scene, that's it.
That was
The
it.
movie
That
sucked.
one fight scene.
The movie sucked. But yeah, the fight scene
It
saved it.
sucked. There's not much to talk about that movie. It wasn't good. But it's
Yeah.
okay because we're going to go to another movie that was just almost as bad.
No, no. I actually do like Thor.
Well, no,
I
no, no,
actually
no, no, no. We're skipping a movie.
no. No,
Yeah.
wait. We are skipping a movie. I forgot. It's Iron Man 2.
It's Iron Man 2.
I forgot about
And
Iron
if
Man
you
2.
forgot about this movie, it's okay. You're not wrong. Okay, Iron Man 2. What are your thoughts?
Okay. So there's scenes that save this movie, but
Okay.
there's some that don't. The is it falls again to the same the villain thing about these movies. They're just not that great.
Yeah.
They don't bring that menacing thing. Like there's just it's not even a joke at this point. But all the villains of Tony Stark were created by Tony Stark. Killmonger, I mean Ironmonger, created by him. Um Second bad guy from the second movie, the Lasso
The
guy,
electric guy.
the
Yeah.
electric guy, created by Tony Stark because Tony Stark dad ruined his life and he wanted revenge because he's also smart as Tony Stark. And we'll not get to the third one because it's later on. But um my favorite scene of this movie is when he's on the racetrack and he's getting attacked by the lasso guy and he gets his suitcase and he goes throws his suitcase and he gets all
It
built
goes
up.
choo 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 like a transformer.
Yeah, that is the top three best suit ups
Oh yeah.
of the whole MCU. Like him getting suit up just like that,
That was cool.
10 out of 10 on that scene alone. The rest of the movie, it felt like it felt like there was a really big threat to the whole thing.
Yeah.
It was just much like a day to day of Tony Stark. Like there wasn't really
See,
a
regular
thing.
bad guy.
Yeah, so just a whatever street level guy. Um, but yeah, it wasn't bad. It wasn't a bad movie. It wasn't a bad movie. We get introduced to
Black
well not
Widow.
yes. Oh, I forgot about that. Yes, Black Widow's in this movie. Yeah, Black Widow's in this movie. Yeah,
She is in this movie.
yeah, she's in this movie, and also Nick Fury. So this is like the first time they like tease of something bigger around this universe with also with Shield and like Shield is also involved with everything and everything. Like
Yeah.
there's nothing on this earth that Shield does not know about. Um, and also with the post credit scene of the first movie that well the deleted scene post credit scene on the movie when he mentioned that there's a radioactive spider and then all these mutants going around.
Yeah.
Um, that was a deleted scene, but that's before they owned the rights to everything and whatever. But yeah, they'll get introduced, and that's like the only glimpse that we got to a bigger thing until the next movie that we're gonna talk about. But yeah, yeah,
Okay. Okay. So I agree with you. That suit up scene was great. We love that suit up scene. You know what we don't love? That fight scene. That fight scene on the track was weird. First off, Electric Guy, what are you doing waiting for this man to suit up? Hit him. Secondly,
bro, he's just doing.
you're just there. What are you doing? Do something. Secondly, there's a lot of times in movies that happens, and you're like, I don't know, make plot convenience. But
I guess, yeah.
I don't know. The fight scenes were bad. They just did not have good fight scenes. I do think the first half of the movie was pretty good.
Yeah.
The second half of the movie, it started just like going all over the place. Obviously, they were trying to bring in a lot of connections with Shield and Black Widow and Fury. We got a new Rhodey. That is one of the best parts of the movie. I do think the new Rhodey, he was way better than the first Rhodey that we got in Iron Man 1. So I did like that. But like I said, the story was kind of all over the place for sequels, because sequels are usually better than the first. In my opinion, sequels are usually better than the first movie in general, not just MCU, but in general movie life, I guess. So I kind of had higher hopes. We all had kind of higher hopes for Iron Man 2 because Iron Man 1 was such a classic and so good, but it went down. Honestly, it went down. And it was now one of the least liked MCU movies, but it's okay because I don't know. It was phase 1. What could you expect?
It was phase 1. I feel like if they didn't put I feel like they rushed the Iron Man stuff way too fast. I don't know, like because they gave us Iron Man 1, Iron Man 2 on phase 1, and then Iron Man 3 on phase 2. And then after that there was no more Iron Man movies because he was done with his solo movies.
Yeah.
But he was just like a
Then he
filling
just
in.
appeared in a bunch of movies.
Yeah. I don't know if I feel like if they push Iron Man 2 on phase 2 and then Iron Man 3 on phase 3 could have been a little bit different.
I mean, even with the rushing, everyone loves Iron Man.
Yeah, those movies made their money back, so you don't hear them complaining. So it's just us. It's just us.
But that's what I think. What is your rating for Iron Man 2?
Iron Man 2. I'll give it a 5. No, because Black Widow's in it. I'll give it a 6.
You gotta give a whole point.
It's Black Widow.
All right. I'm not complaining. I give it a 6 out of 10. But that was my rating before you said anything. Like you said, Black Widow was a highlight. I leave it at that. It was a good movie. Let me rephrase that. It was an okay movie.
It was literally.
It was a step down.
It was a popcorn movie. That's
It
those
was
three.
a popcorn movie. It was okay. It was better than the Hulk.
Yes,
That's all
it
I can
was.
say.
It was
Did we
better.
rate the Hulk?
A whole. There's no rating to it. It's 0 out of 0. Like no
Zero
one.
out of
What?
no. Okay, I give you gotta give the Hulk a rating.
I'll give the Hulk a 3 out of
Dang.
10 because I rewatched it recently
Dang.
and I did not like it only for the fight scene and the end, and that's it. And not even that, because we watched She-Hulk and then all that's for like forgotten and forbidden, like whatever you want to call it. Like he forgive
Yeah.
each other and crap. So we will never see a rematch of them two. So that's just whatever we got is what we got. So if you're expecting a rematch like we all thought we were
Like
gonna
we all
get,
thought we were gonna get.
you ain't getting it. So
Well, we did for like 2 seconds.
that was a biggest tease ever. Pissed me
That was
off.
tragic. I remember
Freaking
seeing
sh-
the finale trailer. And we were like, but it's a rematch. Yo, we're getting Hulk back. Yeah, no, we're not.
no. Yeah, so I get
Anyways, I
three
give it a
three
I
out
give
of
it a
10.
4 out of 10. I give it a 4 out of 10. I give it a sympathy point. So just so it's not a 3. Yeah, let's leave it at that. We gave Iron Man. I gave Iron Man. We both gave Iron Man to a 6 out of 10. So that is what it is. And now we go
To
to
Thor.
space.
Asgard.
Asgard. What is your review of Thor 1?
Thor, it was just like the Black Panther for Phase 1. It just opened up a whole new world,
Did
bunch of like different visuals, a lot of beautiful landscape of like buildings and like this galaxy stuff and like a bunch of like it was awesome until they went to New Mexico and then ruined it. Um, a after he went to New Mexico and then the whole thing just shifted to like from one side to the other. And then he had to like go through this stuff to get his hammer back and whatever. But the villain was good. Loki, top tier villain, one of my favorite villains of the whole MCU. We got introduced to a bunch of new characters.
the whole team?
Hamdall, yeah, the whole team. I forgot the actual name of the team. Um, but if you do remember, put it in the comments. Thank you guys. And to Sif, she was great. I didn't know why they didn't fall in love. They had to do the Jane Foster stuff, but it is what it is. They have to fall in for a
You
human.
gotta film love.
Yeah, yeah,
Everyone has a love interest.
yeah. But like I said, Loki, top tier. Odin, the actor, I forget his name. Awesome. He
Oh
he
yeah.
he killed it as Odin. Out of all the Odins that are out not right now, he was the best one. Um, Thor himself, Chris Hemsworth, he killed it. He was good as Thor. This is our first time seeing him as something big. I think this is like one of his first big things as an actor. Um, I for a few things I didn't like his eyebrows. They were dyed blonde
The
with his
dyed blonde
hair.
eyebrows.
I don't know why they did that. Because after that movie they stopped doing it. I don't
Yeah,
know
they're
if
like,
Chris
damn,
said
what happened to his eyebrows?
yeah, they got darker like for some reason. I don't know. And I was watching it. I also rewatched it. I rewatched the whole MCU recently. Like every year, I rewatch from beginning to the end. Um, I never noticed. There's a lot of scenes that are like they're Dutch.
They're
They're
what?
Dutch angle. Dutch angle means they're tilted. They're like
Oh,
sideways. Like yeah, they're not straight. Like they're like this. And there's a lot of scenes like that. So if you watch it again, and I just said this to you, you're gonna like remember
you gotta notice
that
it.
I mentioned it. Yeah, there's a lot of things like this, and you're like,
And if you can't see what Messi's doing, go watch us on YouTube. Hit
yeah,
that subscribe button, and more people that are have the same interests as you can we can reach out to them and do cool stuff.
Promotion at its finest.
Promotion at its finest.
Yeah, so for Thor, I like the movie again until he goes to New Mexico and does his stuff there. But it was for a greater reason of why he went to there. Wanted to gain his worthiness again, because
Yeah.
if you remember the movie, he who was just this rebellious kid, that's what he wants. Um Not rebellious, he just hot headed. Um but yeah, it was a good half movie.
Okay. Yeah. I can agree with that. I think Thor for some reason sit better with me than it does with most people. I don't know why. I think it's just because I really love Thor as a character. I just it's just cool to me. It just the nerd in me. So I think it had a lot of good moments, but there was a lot of moments, especially in the beginning, like you said, in New Mexico, that could be a little bland. Um, this is the first time we saw a new world. We saw Asgard. As you were saying, it looked cool. The visuals were cool. The freaking road, I mean, not the road, the bridge
Very
looks
fast fish, yeah.
amazing. Reminds me of a Rainbow Road on Mario Kart, but it looks cool. And this is the first movie I would say that's really starting to connect with the previous films. They
Yeah.
mention Iron Man. They mention, I
Hulk.
believe they mentioned Hulk.
Yeah.
You can see the post credit scene that has another connection. There's a lot of connections in this movie. I think this is the first one out of phase one that's like starting to tie everything together, and you can
Hmm.
really start to see that. So it's really cool. However, one of the biggest gripes that I have with this movie is this movie is supposed to be kind of like character development for Thor, that you see how he is at one point in the movie, in the very beginning of the movie, to how he is in the end. However, he kind of stayed the same type of guy from beginning to end, in my opinion, besides the fact that he has a love interest. He's basically the same guy. I don't know. That was weird. I don't think that there was any sort of character development, but I will say, and you did mention this earlier, this is our first like top tier villain of phase one. We got Loki, and Loki is a top tier villain. And if you disagree, you're wrong this time. So you're just wrong. But I don't know. I just love seeing like the hammer, the lightning, knowing that like very few people, the worthiness part is just so cool. I even had a little chain Thor thing on my car for like X amount of years. I just love Thor. And personally, I like the locks, like the long blonde hair. It looked a little weird in the fourth movie, but we're not talking about the fourth movie. We're talking about the first movie. And I personally, I think the value of the worthiness kind of went down as we are going through the phases. Now more people are able to grab the hammer. It's
Yeah. I agree with that on that part.
but I do get the cinematic universe is so huge, and there are people in the comics that can grab the hammer. So I get it, but it's just seeing it in movie wise, it kind of just brings it down a little. But we're talking about phase one. We're not talking about the future.
Not
I
yet.
like Thor. Honestly, I like Thor. I have it. I have its. It has its moments that I don't like, but I like Thor more than most people.
It's a cool movie. That's a cool movie. I I agree on that part that the hammer is not like now it's not as worthy as before. Of like, there's so many people that can wield it now, um, but only some people and some people can't. If you remember Ultron when they were lifting the hammer, only one person can bulge, and it's Captain America. But that pays off later on the on Endgame. Um,
That is true.
but yeah,
What is
so
your rating for Thor?
I think this movie I will give it a solid 5. No, 5 is too low. 5.5.
You give it a lower score than Iron Man 2?
I give Iron Man 2 a 6.
Yeah.
I did.
You were gonna give it a 5 and you gave it a whole point for Black Widow.
Oh yeah, that's true. I forgot about Black Widow. Yeah, but Black Widow's not in this movie. So, but Hawkeye is. I forgot about Hawkeye. Hawkeye
Hawkeye
is on
is
this
in this
movie.
movie.
I
I
forgot
just
he,
I did
he
forget
was
about that.
he was introduced on this movie. He was there for a very very short moment. Um, he was just there like on the where Thor was looking for his hammer. He was there on his nest. That's what they call him, making fun of him. But yeah, Hawkeye got introduced to this movie. Clint, he's cool. You know what? Because he's in the movie and he's awesome. I'm gonna give this movie a another 6. I'm sticking with the 6.
6.
Yeah.
Okay. So I got back-to-back 6s. I give this movie a 7. And I might and if there was such thing as a 7.25, I'd give it a 7.25. It's not good enough for a 7.5, but I would be willing to give it a little higher than a 7. Like I said, there's just something about this movie that I like. I don't know what it is. I really can't quantify it. I like Loki. There's something about the character Thor that just amazes me. And so yeah, I give it a 7.
That's good. That's good.
Now we go to Captain America, the Winter Soldier. Nope, not it.
No.
No, we're not
No.
talking about that good movie. We're just talking about Captain America. 1.
The first
The
Avenger.
first Avenger.
It's a good movie.
What's your reviews on it?
That was a really good movie. I think that was like the best Phase 1 movie, other than the last one. But this one did the best one. This is, I think, the most rewatchable movie out of Phase 1.
Really?
Yeah, I feel this one was great. I really did like Captain America, first the Avenger. At the beginning, he just wanted to be as one as others. Like he wanted to also fight in the war. He didn't he because he's before he started, he was just like Daniel, a scrawny dude.
Hey,
That I kid. He yeah. So but he yeah, like I said, he was just like Daniel. Small, scrawny, couldn't do much.
damn.
But eventually, as you know, he got into a program. They did scientist stuff with him, and then he turned to Chris Evans, as you know him. But yeah, so his
World's sexiest man
more sexiest
in
man.
2022.
Look at that. But yeah, so the story of this movie, I did love it from the beginning to end. The villain is one villain, not multiple villains.
Just one villain.
And he did great. Red Skull was a great villain. He almost succeeded to his plan, but he got greedy, and then the Space Stone got introduced on Phase 1.
We saw a Tesseract. I mean, not the Tesseract. Well, it was a Tesseract, but we saw the Infinity Stone. That's what I meant to say.
The Infinity Stone. Yeah, so we got introduced to this stone for the first time. We didn't know what it was. We thought it was a blue cube.
A blue's cube.
Yeah, like it is what it is. What is that? That got powers. Yeah, cool. We also got to see some little more backstory of Thor. So if you remember, on the very first scene of the movie, when Red Skull is looking for the stone, they go to where they are right now on Endgame, where the whole village is, and you disappeared. You're not here.
Dang. I'm coming. So you're saying?
Yeah. So I forgot the actual country and name of where they are, but back in the day, with Captain America was that time, they have like statues and like paintings of whatnot of of Thor, Odin. They come into Earth, and that's how the Norse mythology was built through that, for them coming to Earth, and then they building this religion or mythology or whatever
Yeah.
whatever you want to call it. So I thought it was pretty cool because I was actually talking to my friend our friend Eliu, about that, and we were talking about the gods and mythology and all the stuff in the MCU. But that's a little cool backstory because we all know that Thor is a Norse mythology god,
Yeah.
but in a more sense, he's an alien because he's
That's
not
true.
from Earth, but because they came to Earth and they quote unquote label them as gods. So I thought it was a pretty cool Easter egg there, that the Norse mythology was
It was
real
cool.
to them. Like, yeah. Um yeah, so this movie was great. We got introduced to Bucky Barnes. I hate that bastard with my
Bucky.
life. Um
Dang.
I hate him. Team
Hey, we
Cap.
love Bucky here.
Team Cap can suck it. Team Iron Man until
Team Cap is the best, and we will have a fight podcast about this one day.
one day. I am Team
Yes.
Cap. I am Team Cap. Let me get
You're
it
Team
straight.
Cap until you stay Team Cap. There is no until. I'm Team Cap
No,
until I'm still Team Cap.
no, I am
Until I'm
Team
dead.
Cap. I am Team Cap until Iron Man finds out about his parents being dead by Bucky. That's where I cross the line. I don't care. You can say he was
Nah,
under
we'll talk about this another
brainwash,
time.
whatever.
We'll talk about this another time.
But whatever. He got introduced. It was so sad when we saw him die, quote unquote, die on this movie,
Yeah.
because that was like his best friend. Bucky was like watching over him when he was like, before he was who he is, and then the roles flip when Captain America was saving him from the experiments and all of that, but he was
Yeah.
a little bit too late because they did experiments on Bucky before he saving them for the first time, and then when they found him dead again, they were like, okay, let's continue the experiment, and then we later actually went to Soldier, but we got to see Peggy, like
Peggy.
the most romantic relationship in the whole MCU is Captain America and Peggy Carter, like,
And it was only
this,
one movie.
and it's only one movie, like we got to see them too. They're like, it was so fulfilling seeing them in Endgame dancing to her song. He got her dance, like the
Yeah.
dance, like before he went to the ice. It was, I love this movie. The movie's great. Yeah, you go ahead because I could literally talk forever for this movie.
Yeah, I see you got a lot of passion for this movie.
Yeah.
First off, I'm going to say I enjoyed this movie. I think the 40s were really shown in a good way. This is the kind of like, first off, the first superhero movie I think in general that we've seen like in another time period, especially a time period that far. So I really enjoyed that. I need to charge my laptop. I got the charger right here. There we go. Okay. We're plugged in.
Support.
We're plugged in, baby. Okay, so I thought the 40s are really good. Another thing I really liked was there's not a lot of CGI because Captain America is just like a superhuman, and the people that he's with are just soldiers. There's not a lot of as much CGI as other films that we had in the MCU. Weren't overloaded with CGI at that time period. It was still nice to see because nobody likes a crap ton of CGI. It was one of the most wholesome movies that we've had in the MCU in general, but especially in Phase 1. It was just a very wholesome movie. Captain America is a very lovable character. But I do think one of the problems with this film is this is kind of when we started to see a cookie cutter repetition of movies in the MCU. They kind of started to blend in together and kind of start to feel the same. So I wasn't the biggest fan of that, but Dang, I disappeared and you didn't even tell me.
You've been gone since you started talking, so I didn't want to interrupt you. You were on a roll.
I was on a roll. But as I was saying, I think it was a very enjoyable movie. I think you liked it more than I did. My issue is, maybe it's not my issue. It's just my personal taste. I really loved that first half of the movie. I do think in the middle towards the end, to me, it kind of slowed down. It felt a little slow, a little bland. I'm not the biggest fan of that. Personally, I don't think it's as rewatchable of a movie as other movies. I know that you really think it's a rewatchable movie.
Out of think about it. Think about it. Out of all the Phase One movie,
I would watch Iron Man.
other than Iron Man and Avengers.
That's that's a third of the Phase One movies.
No.
There's 6, and you're taking out 2 of them.
Come on, you know, Captain America is a rewatch.
I would probably watch Thor before Captain America.
Wow, that's really big to say.
I'm telling you, I don't know what it is about Thor, but I like it. And you already know I really like Iron Man.
Of course, you love Thor. Yeah, when he takes his shirt off, who wouldn't love to see that every time, right? Yeah.
Captain America's buff too. He has that shirtless scene in the science experiment. Anyways, that's not the point. Iron Man is. Why do you have me talking about shirtless men? This is not good.
Hey, we need an angle for people to listen to us. So shirtless men, guys.
Hey yo, we're reaching out to a new audience out here. Come get your mans. Point is, it was a good movie. I think you liked it more than I did. I don't think it's as rewatchable as other movies. What is your rating of Captain America 1?
7 out of 10. Obviously, it's not the best movie out of all of Captain America movies. This is my out of 1, 2, and 3 Captain America. This is my last one out of the 3 because the second one is top tier. That's my favorite one. And then Civil War. You can't Civil War is insane.
Civil War.
It's insane. But yeah, 7 out of 10. Yes, as you know, the movie's not perfect. It has its flaws. Like you said, there's some parts that are really slow. There's some parts that didn't really need to be there, in the movie to make it make sense. But yeah, 7 out of 10.
Okay, so I gave Thor a 7 to a 7.25.
Yeah,
I give Captain America a 6.5 to a 7. I think it's under 6.8. I give it a 6.8. I think it's under Thor. Point blank. That's my mic drop. It's Thor is better. I'm sorry. It's better. Whoever says it's not is wrong.
I don't know. God, Captain America.
They're not. Honestly, you're not wrong.
You know what?
Everyone says Captain America is a better film than Thor, but I don't know what it is. I like Thor better. I just like the hammer, the flying, the knife.
Yeah, the hammer. Yeah. So,
Avengers. We're in our final film.
2012 Avengers movie.
4 years later.
Dude, this movie was like, wow. I remember what I was doing before I went to see this movie, bro.
Yo,
it was just yesterday. I was in church. I was just literally finishing. I was Catholic back in the day. So we just finished doing my sister's what is it called after the baptism, years later, where you're a little older, your first communion. I guess what I don't know what it's called.
I didn't even know you were Catholic back in
the day. I was Catholic back in the day, but I remember my sister, my second sister, she just finished doing that, and we were like, let's go celebrate. God gave you this, so let's do something not godly.
Let's watch Avengers.
Let's watch Avengers. We watched it in 3D in Puerto Rico with a big popcorn, and it was the best day of my life because we got to see all the Avengers fight this alien army, and it was
masterpiece.
It was masterpiece at that
Classic.
moment.
Classic.
It was a classic. This is like it's literally rewatchable until the half of the movie where the the Mind Stone at that moment we got introduced to another stone on this movie.
Yeah. The scepter.
Yeah, um, that's how Loki was able to control Clint and was almost to control everybody else. Um, but the really thing I like about this movie, it other than just connecting everything, is literally connecting everything. So like,
The thing other than connecting everything is connecting everything.
yes, let me elaborate. Okay, so as you know, yeah, like they all adventures come together and whatever the fight, but it's the small details. Like we got to see the professor back again from Thor. Um, the stones, they're back again. Um, we got to see the Black Widow. We got to see Clint Barton. We got to see Nick Fury back again. We got to see Shield again. Like without Shield, obviously we wouldn't get the Avengers, but we got everything that we have seen from the very first Avengers. The first Iron Man movie all the way to this movie. Everything come together, and then make the Avengers movie. Like the little things that were introduced and all the previous movies got in they brought back to this movie. Yeah, so that's one of the things that I like as well. Um, but it was a great movie.
Okay. I
I
just want
will.
to point out. Are you done?
Yeah, go ahead.
I just want to point out you went this entire time talking about Avengers and how it brings this and brings that and how it's such a classic. And not once did you mention Thanos, the main bad guy of phase 1 through 3, being introduced for the first time. What? We got
Thanos,
Thanos.
Thanos can suck it. Okay, like yes, we got to see Thanos at the very end. We see him do this very creepily
We
to the
got a
camera.
discolored Thanos that looks nothing like not even the same voice actor.
Yeah,
Point
they're
is, we got Thanos. We were like, oh my gosh, this is what we're getting. We're getting. I don't even know who Thanos is,
exactly at that
but this
moment.
is who we're getting.
I 2012. I do not remember nothing. I don't even recall who is this purple dude looking at the camera smiling. Like who are you? Like I have no idea who you are. You know who? Okay, you know when I got a realization who Thanos is
When?
on Guardians of the Galaxy when he actually speaks. When he goes to to what's his name? The blue guy.
The
From
collector?
no, the other blue
Oh,
guy.
the main blue guy, the bad guy.
Yeah, the bad guy, blue
Yeah,
guy. Him. Like that's the first. Like that's when it's like, oh crap, Thanos again. This is like the third time we see
yeah.
him, and
You're
like,
like, dang, Thanos.
yeah, this guy looks serious. Like, who is
Okay,
this
I can
guy?
agree. I can agree with
Yeah,
that.
but like,
The point is, it was the introduction to the big bad. It was the
yes,
first time we saw it. Um, First off, this movie with if this movie bombed, we would not have the MCU we have today.
yep,
I am gonna point that out there. This movie made the MCU at the time from something cool to the biggest franchise in the world. It went from okay, these are some cool superheroes to it's kind of cool to be a nerd. It's kind of cool to like the MCU. This brought this movie was less about the story of Loki coming in and trying to take over Earth with a bunch of aliens and more about the characters teaming up, the relationships that were developed or not developed. It's honestly it's not that deep of a movie when you think about it, but it was just a fun, action-packed, basically almost 2 hours straight of action, really fun time, good humor, good drama, good action, good characters teaming up. Bro, we saw this is the first time. Okay, you could say X-Men, but X-Men were always teamed up. But this is when we saw them teamed up for like people that were separated. And not just that, we had people from that had their own individual films, such as Iron Man, Thor, Captain America, to people that didn't even have much screen time. Think about it. Black Widow didn't have her own film. She was just in cameos in a little bit. Hawkeye was in a cameo a little bit. Nick Fury cameo. Who else was a cameo? Loki. I mean, he was a villain, but like he wasn't. I don't know. He wasn't there that long. So it just took things from every film, took different plot lines, and brought it to the climax that we had in Avengers. Now, I am going to say this. Is it that great of a movie? It's not the best. It's a good movie. I very much enjoyed it. I like rewatching this movie, but it doesn't have the same feel as it did back then. Because it was just such a classic back then. Now we watch it, we know the better films that we have. We have Infinity War, we have Endgame, we have all these like better films. So like we watch Avengers and we're like, this is good, but we know that there's better Avengers.
Yes, but we can't think about it like that when you rewatch this movie. Like you gotta think about it like it's your first time watching it again. And you're walking in not knowing anything, even though you know what's going on. It's a good movie. Like I said, action packed from beginning to end. We have a great villain again on this movie. Loki comes back, and then he's working for Thanos, to conquer this world for him. And obviously he fails. And then we see him again later on in Infinity War. It's like when he goes, I can be your guide on this earth. And he goes, your failed sex, whatever he says on to Thanos says to him.
Oh yeah, he said, I call experience. He's like, I can be your experience. He's like, failed experience. He's like, experience.
Here's experience. Oh, so funny. So sad that we got to see him die. But whatever. Yeah, so you can't think about it like that. Yes, of course, there's better movies out there. There's even movies at that moment of 2012 there were better movies out there other than this movie. But like I said, you can't think about it like that. You gotta think about it like this is your first time watching it. There's nothing else in the world better than this.
There's nothing else in the world.
Like
this is all that matters in 2012.
Exactly. It's just it's so iconic with them talking to each other. When Hulk smashed the big alien on when he transforms himself on that scene on the motorcycle and just smashed that thing.
Oh,
like
I got one more
so
thing
iconic.
I gotta say something. Good job to Mark Ruffalo to just coming in after literally not being in any other scene ever of the MCU, and all of a sudden he's at the Avengers. Good job. We got a better Hulk, and he fit perfectly in. He felt like you've seen him before, but you haven't. But he fit right in. So good job.
He did fit right in. He was a I want to say as an actor, I kind of did like Edward Norton better as an actor than Mark Ruffalo, but Mark Ruffalo just like he fit in just so well that we didn't mind the switch. I didn't mind. Some people did, but they're over it now because he's in it for God knows how long. But at the beginning, some people did not like it, but I liked it. I honestly did not care. Honestly, when I saw Mark Ruffalo, I thought, okay, so the other movie it's not part of it. It's not part of the MCU. Like it was whatever movie. I thought it was just whatever.
Yo, was Kevin Feige calling you earlier?
Me?
Yeah, I heard a ringtone. Is he calling you earlier? Kevin Feige. Okay. He's like, "Hey, yo, don't be talking bad about my movies."
No. Kevin doesn't call me on Tuesday nights.
You're right. You're
Because
right.
we are,
Those are
because we are, yeah,
Thursdays.
because we are Thursdays just to talk about the podcast, to tell me how awesome we're doing. Um, I'll let him know that you asked about
Yeah.
him.
Tell Kevin Tuesday nights are recording nights.
Yeah, yeah. I'll let him know.
But so that's Avengers.
As Avengers,
Oh, what's your rating? What is your rating for Avengers?
I give this movie 8 out of 10.
I agree.
8 out of
Actually,
10.
I give it I give it between an 8 and an 8.5. However, even though I slightly rate it higher than Iron Man, I like Iron Man better as a movie. But I do think movie wise, you know what? I don't even know what I'm saying. Maybe movie wise, Iron Man is better. Point is, Avengers is a good movie. 8 out of 10. Let's just leave it at that. 8 out of 10. All right, let's do our rankings real quick before we wrap up our show. I mean, you could kind of guess what our rankings were
Yeah.
through our ratings, but we'll just give you a recap. So I'll say my 5, you say your 5. We'll go back and forth.
All right.
So this is Phase 1 rankings of all the movies in Phase 1 MCU. For my number 5, I give The Incredible Hulk.
Yeah, there's no there's no debate to it.
It's in the bottom. It is what it is.
It
My
is what
number
it is.
4, I give Iron Man 2.
Yeah, Iron Man 2 for me too as well.
Okay.
I'm trying to remember the ratings that I give. So I gave Iron Man the first one a 7, right?
I don't remember.
I don't remember either. Whatever.
Iron Man 2
I know my list.
is number 4. Number 3, I give it to Captain America, the First Avenger.
I gave my number 3 to Thor.
Which is the wrong answer, but it's okay.
No.
My number 2 is Thor, because that's where it should go in the Phase 1 rankings.
No. Wait. You know you counted wrong, right?
I counted wrong. We have 6 movies.
We have
My
6
number
movies.
6. My number 6 is Incredible Hulk. My number 5 is Iron Man 2. My number 4 is Captain America. My number 3 is Thor, because that's where it deserves to go.
Yeah, there you go. So everything was the same for myself. So 6, Hulk, 5, Iron Man 2, 4, Thor. Sucks movie. Number 3, Captain America.
It should be switched, but it's okay.
That's fine. Your number 2 is?
Number 2 is Avengers.
Number 2 is Iron Man.
Wrong. Number 1 is Iron Man, because that's where it deserves to go, because it's the classic and it deserves to be number 1.
And that's your opinion. So the fact is that Avengers are the best one out of the Phase 1. It was a ride. Phase 1, it was
What a
great.
ride. It had its ups, it had its downs. It was a roller coaster.
And only 6 projects.
Only 6 projects. And that's why you can't hate on Phase 4 too much, because guess what? Phase 4 is like the reintroduction of Phase 1. Phase 4 is Phase 1, but for the new saga. Guess what? Phase 1 wasn't all that good, okay? We got Iron Man 2. We got Incredible Hulk. If you're a hater of Thor, we got Thor. Thor's not that bad, but I know some of y'all hate Thor. So you know what? We got projects we didn't like in Phase 4 either.
A lot of projects. But we don't talk about that because we have talked about it already. But yeah, so that's our ratings for Phase 1. Again, we'll be talking about Phase 2 and Phase 3 on the next podcast and the following podcast. Because again, we got there's 3 weeks before Ant-Man comes out, so there's really nothing talking. There's new topics to really.
We're going back,
so we're just going
before
back.
we start Phase 5.
Exactly. Yeah. So we love Phase 1. Out of a phase, out of everything combined all together, what's your rating for Phase 1?
Ooh, a combined phase rating. Wow, that's a good one. I never thought about that. You're gonna have to go first because I gotta think. I gotta think for a second.
Like, is okay. So it's 1 out of 10. Nothing crazy. Just Phase 1 by itself. I think Phase 1, with all the ups and downs that it had, it was a really good phase to introduce this franchise that we have and love, and like there's like we all combine and like we can enjoy this going to the theater and like separate everything for whatever's going on in the world. I, as a kid, will give this 10 out of 10, but me as an adult, I'll probably give it 7 out of 10. Phase 1.
7 out of 10, I think, is a solid phase 1 rating because I think about it from like a statistical standpoint. You got 6 movies, 3 of them were kind of trash, 3 of them were really good. So, well, you might not like Thor, but I like Thor. 3 of them were really good, 3 of them were not that good. You go in the middle, plus you got to add some bonus points. So 7 out of 10, good, solid phase.
Yeah.
And that's our podcast. So you can follow us on Instagram, on Twitter, Facebook, YouTube to subscribe and watch us live. You can watch us on Spotify, listen to us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, anywhere you get your listening platforms. But we are not on Snapchat. Do not look for us. If you see us, it's not us.
It's not us.
And thank you for just reaching out because our brand is growing and we got some surprise announcements coming soon, possibly next week. So stay tuned for that. Oh, you can follow me at Danny42 with 3 N's, 2 is taken on Instagram. And let me know who you are.
Yeah, because I don't want you asking me what is her name.
That's
Like,
true. You
don't
gotta
do
know
that.
my name. I'm telling you my name now. So
Yeah,
don't
don't ask us what do you call us. Don't do that. That's weird. But yeah, so yeah, my name is Messi 17 underscore. You can follow me on Instagram. Yeah, it's like what Denny said. But if you don't want to follow us, like Denny said, we are almost every platform there is. Same name, Unqualified Heroes. Share, like, comment. We will always reply back to you guys because we like to communicate
we
with
love
you guys.
fan engagement.
Exactly. But yeah, so again, phase 1, 7 out of 10 for us. Let us know what is your rating for phase 1. Again, 6 movies. If you consider Hulk to be part of it, good for you. If you don't, we don't complain about it. We're not gonna fight you about it, but it's part of it, whether you like it or not. But yeah, so phase 2 next week. So
Be ready. Unqualified Heroes.
Go, go, go.